So you ever feel like you got a cold coming on, so you do everything you can to like fight it off, and it seems like it goes into remission completely, and then like a day later it's like, hey, I'm back. And you're like, no, I didn't want you to come back. And then it's like, well, too bad, because I'm back. I'm like, go go away again. And it's like, no. And it's like, but why? And it's just like, because this is where I live. You're like, man, you don't even pay rent. I don't know. I just find being sick to be highly inconvenient, especially because I tend to do a lot with my schedule, with my time. I I get involved in a lot of things where I find ways to occupy myself, to better myself or something. Like sometimes I'll read up on like programming. That's one of the things I was thinking about, like getting back into a little bit. So some programming, some light programming. You know, learn how to write some action script using Java. That's a really common language. I mean, my original language was C and C++, and I learned a little bit of I think it's C sharp. C sharp is really cool. It's a lot more broad, a lot more general. You can get away with a lot more, and it's a lot easier to pick up too, compared to C and C++. Those languages are like really nitpicky. They care about a lot of things, and you have to write everything from scratch. There's not a lot of libraries per se to pull from, and libraries are basically like separate little programs that you can reference within your own program to get other things done. So with C Sharp, for example, it has a lot of libraries, so you can just reference different functions left and right to do what you want to do, to make one program work cohesively. So I might get back into programming. I was looking into it. I downloaded a compiler to compile the code so that it can run. Free, of course. I don't like paying for things I'm not going to get that invested in. And of course, you know, I'm always trying to become a better musician, so I always read up on like certain things, certain techniques. Some music theory. It's really difficult when you're not a disciplined person to teach yourself new things. Especially things that are fairly tedious, but very important, like music theory. It's like this one musician that I follow on YouTube has said, I've never known anyone to regret learning music theory. So, and that begs the argument, like, would adding something so structured as music theory hinder your ability to create music, to be creative? And, you know, and I agree with this YouTuber insofar as like, I don't think it would. Because when you learn new things and you become a master of those new things, that just adds more tricks to your toolbox to use to express an idea that you have more readily. Like if you are writing a song and you're like, this is missing something, but I don't know what. Having music theory under your belt will give you the wherewithal to ask the right questions to get you to where you need to go. Like, maybe I need to add this to resolve this so that it sounds more complete. So, Jimi Hendrix was a wonderful guitar player, and he was solely against learning music theory. Do I think he would be a better musician had he learned music theory? It's possible. I think we would have had more Tosanabasis sooner than we do now. Had more idols made music theory very important. So, indeed, a lot of guitar players, they pick that up later on in life. Well, not necessarily later on in life, but as they go, rather. So, they learn, the names of the notes that they play, the names of the chords that they play, how to arrange their own chords. Chords basically being at least a triad of notes that create a separate note altogether. So like when you play the notes E, C, and D, you basically form an E minor chord. So, for example, music theory just gives you the ability to do more to express yourself more. So with someone that had a lot to express, I think Jimi Hendrix probably would have benefited more if he had learned music theory. I am really liking the way this is turning out. I'm so glad I did this. Oh yeah, so the whole thing about a cold. I don't know anyone that enjoys being sick, honestly, but which kind of makes complaining about being sick or getting sick kind of pointless. But regardless, it still feels necessary to complain about it. And I really just like being sick because, like I was saying, I have so much that I like to do in my day sometimes, and when I'm sick, I feel that I'm not able to accomplish nearly as much. I will be more likely to be lazy, or if my throat is being affected, I don't want to talk, I don't want to sing, I don't want to do anything except lay down and be quiet. So one thing I would love to do is, especially with friends that are writers, is basically play a game where we are given one prompt, same prompt, and one of us has to go first, basically, and one of us has to start writing first, and from that point, we just continue on from the other. Like we each write a single paragraph. It's kind of like this other game where you form a story using single words and you just go around until you get to someone that can't continue the story and ends up losing. They drop out. It's kind of like musical chairs. But anyway, a more expanded version where we write whole sentences for a story and it has to be cohesive. And then at the end of it, we see what we have. I think that would be like so fun to do. But of course, as often is the case, I am much more ambitious and driven than a lot of my other friends when it comes to such things. Like when it comes to like creating music together, for example, I find that while I'm dying of thirst or dying of hunger to get something started, others are merely, I could go for this. And it's just like, no, don't just be content either way of like either doing something or not. Join with me on this journey and self-discovery and do this thing with me. We will both become better people for it. And they're just like, okay. And then they drag their feet. And it's like, you are the reason why you are where you are. But I guess to be fair, maybe they're in a better spot in life than I am, where I'm currently not content with how things are and want to work to change that. And I guess that's okay, and getting to a point where you are fine with how things are. I think that also lends into how we are our own worst critics. Like, I will always judge myself more harshly than others judge me. And it's kind of the perfectionist in me, I guess. Like, I like a lot of the things that I do, don't get me wrong, but I will always feel more negatively about it than others would feel. Like, for example, someone might find this drawing as is, like, amazing, and that's okay. Maybe it is amazing. Objectively speaking, maybe it is amazing. But I don't feel satisfied with where it is now. So I'm going to work and work and work until it's where I like it to be. So I wanted to, for example, start this music project where it's basically got a lot of roots of like punk music and some elements of like R&B, and I had like great visions for it. But it doesn't seem like it's ever going to happen because the people that wanted it originally more than I did don't want to get together and actually put in work. It's like they realize, oh man, he's serious. I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. It's like, this is how things get done. It's like, you actually do them. And I guess that kind of deters them because they find out that, it's not just playing around, it's actual work. And I'm willing to work, and to a lesser extent, they are too. But it's always to a lesser extent. That's kind of frustrating. It's like, I want to create music, and especially with other people. Creating music with people is one of the most wonderful things in the world, I think. You get to see what each other's thinking. You get to feel it. You form a bond with that person. And it's really something special. Because you're basically sharing souls at that point. And it is kind of intimate, but it's a wonderful feeling regardless. And yeah, it's taking what you can do on your own and then like someone else